Greetings to my Firefly family. You know that we are of an age where this is incredible, but we're getting used to it. You know, where we could just go around and sage and smudge the whole ancestor fire and prepare for you all coming for camp or the circle or our wonderful talks or lunch or any of those great things that we all have in our memories. Now here we are. Here we are. I hope everybody got caught up on all three Matrix movies, because here we are now in the back programs. And I was just saying to Marissa that there are a million, of course, we see how very, very huge 11, 13 years of Firefly would bring us. Did we ever think we would be in a time like this? And some of us knew, yeah. Some of us knew, there's no question about it, because we walked that rhythm on the ley lines of the earth. We might have not had the details or the name George Floyd or this piece over here, but we knew. And it's the thing that drove us in such dedication to get, actually, to all of those gatherings in the woods, one way or another, because on a certain level, for some people it was fun, for us it was important, obviously. Doesn't it bring you to wonder like that, why so many of our outdoor events wrestled so long with people of color coming in, with the variety that non-melanated people came in. And now we would live to be in a time like this and we would go, oh, I get it. And there's greater work to do. Wouldn't it have been nice if we could have had a real blending of the red people and the black people and the white people? Maybe 5 years ago at a Firefly, wouldn't that have been nice? Because our hearts would be in a better place than this gigantic fear and trauma and a pandemic, for goodness sake. I mean, there's enough things to think about, where missing one another or feeling confined. That's what we're hoping, that they put it together so nice, and more of our groups are doing it, that you can attend and hear from different people and a list of classes, and no, it's not right out there with the trees and the birds, but close. Close. And you know, if there's so many people that have come to me during this time wondering, particularly those who would be powerful white allies, or those who give thanks, a certain part of empathy, where there's another whole section of reality that does not feel any empathy, and that's what we're up against. But that come and say, oh, I don't know what to do, and they're very overwhelmed, and they want to do something. They don't know if to send money to the Navajo people, or what should I do, because they feel like they have to do something. This is what to do. This is what you do. Just like Neo didn't have it in front of him, he had to learn to respect the mystery. We got 5 planets retrograde, and at this moment that you're beginning to see Firefly, we're about to, close out the other half of this eclipse. I'd love to sit here, but I've always been a straight up type person. Sangoma, straight up type person. So I don't candy code it, and I've not been speaking gloom and doom. And then you go, oh yeah, oh yeah. Now you were talking about this a few years ago, and so it is going to be a little darker before it gets lighter. That's the truth I have to tell you today. It is. There's no question. You have to know in your mind, no matter what side, and we were just talking about that, what side of the politics that you are on, and the people who just came to hang out, hear the music, and do skills, and we understand that. And so now that's kind of off the map, unless, like we're feeling all the Memorial Day goers and the beach goers, and in a minute we'll be feeling the street protesters, because the pandemic did not go over there and sit down. It did not. And so the likelihood of being the elders or the leadership or whoever was bringing our young people, our teens along, our young people along, this is not the time to walk crazy in front of them. What can you do? What should you do? You should immerse yourself in these connections, even though they are in the electronics and in the machines, and it is tough, and it's not as good as sitting down under the trees just at a fire with a cup of mead. No, it's not that easy. But you would be amazed once we gather in. I just did it, so I'm telling you something that I know. Perma Jam tribe up in New York, they did it, and they did it to the point that we loved each other so much, and we missed each other so much. that at midnight on Sunday night, there were still 40 people hanging out in a Zoom call, falling asleep on one another. And so I want to put that like good medicine in your hearts. You know, I want to say a little bit about the Summer Solstice Lighthouse Summit, because there's just a different way to be creative, you know, and this is a cocoon. See it that way. We were all caterpillars over there. Now we're in this creative cocoon for whatever reason, and the metamorphosis has to happen. And we do know an exit is coming. And will we leap out, jump out? No, we will not. This is that part right here, where you watch this whole Firefly thing connect. Check out where they are, Earth Skills. Check out the Lighthouse Summit, the Web of Love. I could go on and on because I do like 8 to 12 Zoom calls a week. And so I'm telling you that the Earth Tribe is moving in the midst of this. We're going to hold tight. We're not trying to let it go to a civil war. We're not trying to have our families scared to death. We're not trying to be in that panic. We did all those gatherings for, in the Earth Skills case, almost 40 years for a time just like this. For a time just like this, where we would maybe have to respect the mystery. We wouldn't know what was going to come when. But you have to know, you cannot, there's no more illusion is what I'm trying to tell you. As you step in, please don't put on the color tinted glasses. Don't, not in your backyard yet, okay? Because that's the meaning of these connections in these Zoom houses, is to settle each other into a space where we go, oh, we are connected. Oh, yeah, and so-and-so's growing over here. And Mojo, I just got off the phone with him. You know what an inventor he is. And he's got all this thing where, you know, if it goes to military rule, and let me point it out. Maybe some people are slow. Let me be very basic and say, the reason that military tanks could go into Washington is because the District of Columbia doesn't have a governor. And so all that was needed to tip it over into the other end is for the state of Oklahoma to see themselves in riots that are uncontrollable, which is only what could happen when you have 19,000 red hat wearers come into a town where, you know, 1923, the United States government dropped bombs on an entire black community, Wall Street wealthy. Do your homework. Know the history. And it's not about fear or gloom or doom. You have to know what the possibilities are. The lighthouses are holding the altars and our sacred and the fires like we're doing here. We're holding it. But you can't ever kid yourself about what we're holding it against. You can't do that. It doesn't serve our children or our grandchildren well, and that's who we work for. That, don't lose sight of that. If any of us, and that's where Black people are today, say, well, when's it going to stop? It's not. I try to break that news to everyone. It's not. Because Black people finally figured out after 400 and some years what they're willing to die for. And every one of them, I don't pretend to speak for all Black people, but everyone that I have talked to has made that quite clear. I made it quite clear to my husband. There's no way, I'm not wired that way, that I could just roll up and see somebody with their knee on your neck. And I wouldn't literally take them out. Now, I would die in the process because no doubt I'd be shot for jumping on a cop. But I'm not wired to stand by and watch it. And there are a number of people of color from all of the trauma that was already between the ancestors. What we talked about, this is what we have talked about for year after year after year in the ancestor fire. At the campfire, in case you wasn't paying attention, here we are. That these things like karma, what Marissa just said, it has to be paid, baby, and we're paying it. But the good news is we have the tools. We came to do this. Encoded in us is the light for this level of darkness. All we have to do is grab hold of each other, figure it out, and be sure of where we're going and hold our space. It's not even being on the defensive. I've said to everyone I talk to, you have to now work on your own triggers. We have no room for any of us to knowingly be triggered by anything or anybody. Again, that does not serve our children or our grandchildren. Yeah. My Elosha would say to me when I first became a priest, if you want to know all of the length of how to be a good priest, how about you are able to keep your head when everyone around you is losing theirs? Now, I could have read some Kahil Gibran, or I could have told you that. If you ask why is it worthy to spend your time in Firefly or to come on in at some point to the Lighthouse Summit next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we have international peacekeepers. Oh my God, you should at least look at the lineup, and there are 6 social medias. You'll see it fly by on Facebook, the various times and who's there. Check in. Web of Love has saved my life since the pandemic started. I've been speaking on them. I'm only on their Sunday summit, but they go on 7 days a week. Imani White beats a drum. Women speak into water and give water blessings 7 days a week. They are faithful to it. They have raised over $1,800 for the Navajo. They have raised money for the families in Minneapolis. They ain't playing them little white women up in the hills and mountains of North Carolina. They are not playing. So you would not be able to say, we have a proverb, and you know that says, he who knows don't die like he who don't know. And when I searched inside of my prayer self and said, what shall you do as an elder of these various tribes that have so generously hosted you over the years? And they said, baby, tell them the truth. And so that's the last point I want to give you. And Marissa will link it up to the bottom of seeing this. Welcome to the 2020 shelter, what is it? The social distancing Firefly gathering, but welcome anyway. And we have, the South of My Wheel has prepared a document with all that you really need to know when you think your mouth wants to say Black Lives Matter. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm at a place in my age where I would ask you, what do you think you know about it? You up on some whim with a poster sign? What do you think you know about it? How could we be this angry? Why are we? And if our lives matter, what in the world would you say about the red people? Okay, because they were slaughtered and had their land stolen before you even came to get us in Africa. You see, so that's a wide open can of worms right there. And before we can have those conversations, less the charge, less the triggers, we all have to start in the same book. I keep saying, if we can't get to the same page, let's at least try to get in the same book, because then that doesn't put any of us at a disadvantage in the talking circle. That brings all of us at a place where our empathy reaches each other. And that's the difference. If you ask yourself today, what's the difference between you and Mitch McConnell? That's the basic difference, is that people that are on that other side of that bridge that we know we trying to get to the middle of that bridge have lots of information they don't know. Mm-hmm. They don't know. And I could take that further, but maybe I'll do that in a class or a little piece for y'all or something on Firefly, because that's real. That's real. I can tell you this as quick as it is. The mere fact that those people that are up against that, what you know is their grandparents and their great-grandparents did have slaves. And what they don't know is that the plight or the blunt or the edge of that blade that's falling right now for people of color is going to affect the very people that change their diapers and let them have titty and shit, And so until it becomes personal in their own backyard, again, if you're in doubt, watch Blindside. I looked at that movie the other day and I thought, we don't know. We really don't. We don't know who the abolitionists were. We don't know where the allies were or were not. We're only feeling our way through it. Watch Celestine Prophecy. I've been watching it again for the last 3 nights. You have to know I read it when it first came out. I saw the movie when it first came out. But now, to be able to discern and see people's auras and the energies that you're really dealing with, particularly get good enough to see them like this through a machine, darling, it's a whole new level of school and superpowers out here. Thus, my last commercial, the Mystic School of Alchemy. And so I think this Lighthouse Summit is our big whatever for the summer quarter. We had a great spring quarter. A lot of people from all over the country that, thank God. Again, we were anchoring one another during the first part of the pandemic. It was very amazing how the ancestors fixed that up. But the way I see it, we're going to have a heck of a fall quarter. That's what I do know. And I'm hoping that we're landed in a building right up there near Marissa, if I could have it. But I think it is. It's over in Cherokee land, somewhere over there by Franklin the Silver. That's what the real estate people keep sending to me. So I feel to be there. I don't want to be in Georgia. I'm going to tell you right that. You say, Ia, how can I pray for you? Pray that Ia is not in Georgia anywhere near the November election, okay? Because Georgia's a little special in their stupidity, and I don't have any business being here. during that time, running into them at Walmart and the grocery store and stuff. And so we're gonna hope that I'll be, you know, putting all the different art and things up in the new school over there in Franklin or Silver, North Carolina. That's the vision you hold for me. I miss y'all so much, and to make water come into my eyes, because it does. It hurts all of us. But we know I hold on to. We'll see one another again. That's what Maurice is talking about. He's talking about all the people that are going to move this food chain for the Earth Tribe would have to come into the woods. He'll tell you more about it on Saturday with the bandanas, with the social distance. I believe it can be done too. I'm not opposed to doing it. In fact, Lena Estes is asked to, she's going to try to do her growing goddess, you know, in the woods. Less people, you know, right on that social distancing. We're going to test it out because we have faith in ourselves. And that's what I hope, having said a lot here. I hope that you feel from my heart. Don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. Hold on to the vision. There are amazing downloads. There are light beings all over the galaxy that want this library of the Earth experiment to succeed. And it will. But we're going to have to look at some crazy things before we get there. I'm going to tell you the truth. We're going to have to look at some absolutely crazy things. I love y'all. Take care. Wakanda forever.